Yo, what's going on guys, it's Cynical and welcome back to another Kingdom Hearts 3 video. Guys, today for you dudes, I wanted to sit down and talk a little bit about Marluxia, as of course within the most recent Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer, it was shown to us that Marluxia is in fact returning for that of Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, of course this got me super excited considering the fact that Marluxia is one of my all-time favorite Kingdom Hearts characters, and personally for me, I would love to see more screen time of this guy. I think he played the villain role pretty damn perfectly within Chain of Memories. But aside from that, we don't really know too much about Marluxia, his backstory per se, how he came to actually joining the organization, and really his true goals and ambitions. We didn't really get to learn too much about him, even within Chain of Memories, the only Kingdom Hearts title where he actually has a decent amount of screen time. However though, Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be reintroducing Marluxia as a villain from the seams, which is absolutely fantastic. And within the most recent trailer, we got to see a very short conversation between Sora and Marluxia within the world of Tangled. Now the conversation is particularly interesting, mainly because of the fact that Sora doesn't actually know who this person is. And this is for good reason. Within Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories at the very end of the game, Naminé ends up completely erasing Sora's memories and anything that actually happened at Castle Oblivion, hence the reason Sora doesn't actually know who Marluxia is. Of course it's completely different though for Marluxia, as we can see that in this conversation, Marluxia knows exactly who Sora is. So to start off with, that is a really cool concept within Kingdom Hearts 3. Obviously when we do come across Marluxia, we're not going to know exactly who he is, or at least Sora won't know who he is, but I would say as we progress through the game, certain things will most likely end up coming back to Sora, especially if we actually have to go to Castle Oblivion in order to save Ven. As we know, Ven is currently hidden away within a special room in Castle Oblivion that only Aqua knows the location of. However though, it's not exactly the fact of Sora not being able to remember who Marluxia is, more so the actual current role that Marluxia is going to play within the game. Now as soon as Marluxia appeared, most of us assumed that okay, Marluxia is back and obviously he's going to be returning as a Seeker of Darkness. However though, it would seem like Marluxia isn't actually going to be a part of Xehanort's Seekers of Darkness, rather it would appear like Marluxia is working on his own terms. This is one thing that he says within the trailer that really solidifies this point. He says right here, the only organization, and I, Marluxia, serve it. How interesting it is to see you again, Sora. When we look at the official subtitles of this sentence that Marluxia says, you guys will notice that only is in italics. And I believe that within Marluxia's eyes, the only true organization there is his very own organization. Obviously within Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Marluxia's plans was to overthrow the original Organization 13. Marluxia has always been very obsessed with superiority, and especially power. As we know, Marluxia has been quite fixated on obtaining the power of the Keyblade for quite some time now, possibly even extending back to the days of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross when he was his nobody form, Luarian. We'll also notice that Marluxia is lacking one very distinct feature of a Seeker of Darkness, that being Xehanort's amber eyes. We can see that Marluxia's eyes are of his normal eye color, so right there I think it's safe to say that Marluxia is in fact not a Seeker of Darkness. So the question remains, what exactly will Marluxia be doing within Kingdom Hearts 3 and what sort of a role will he serve? What we do know is Marluxia seems to still have control and power of the nobodies, as we've seen in the Tangled world that there are actually nobodies themed after him. Now whether or not Marluxia is controlling these specific nobodies, or more so this is a trait that perhaps maybe Xemnas stole back when Marluxia was part of the original organization, is currently up in the air. But more so, it would seem like Marluxia is going to be playing the role of his very own villain within Kingdom Hearts 3, kind of similar to say Maleficent or Pete. It would seem like we're most likely going to be having 3 different groups of villains within this game, one being Maleficent and Pete, one being the Seekers of Darkness, and one would seem to be Marluxia. It's also up in the air as to whether or not Marluxia will have anybody else working behind him as well, perhaps maybe the original organization members from Chain of Memories. These members include Lycine, Vexen, Lexius, Zexion. As we know, we destroyed Marluxia within Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, but of course what we do know is a person can actually return to their former selves if both their Nobody and Heartless versions are destroyed. It makes me think that somewhere, maybe there was actually a Heartless version of Marluxia, and once that version of him was destroyed, he was resurrected, hence the reason we're seeing him here. However, though, keep in mind this is not the somebody version, this is the nobody version known as Marluxia, so it's interesting to see his nobody return opposed to that of his somebody. We don't exactly know how Marluxia is existing as of right now, and whether or not the exact same will count for the members like Luxian, Zexian, and the rest of the chain of Marleys Organization members. We do know that Xemnas and Ansem, Xehanort's nobody and heartless forms, do exist within Kingdom Hearts 3, as they are going to be Seekers of Darkness. However, though, that's strange considering the fact that we completely destroyed these guys in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. So how exactly do they exist in Kingdom Hearts 3? Well, that's because Xehanort's younger self went into the past and brought them forward into the future. So in terms of why those guys are back, it sort of makes sense, even though, you know, time travel is like one of the most unoriginal directions you can sort of take your story in. So maybe somehow Marluxia figured out the same sort of thing, being able to time travel, and brought back a past version of himself into the future. Personally, I don't want this to be the reason as to why Marluxia is, of course, back within Kingdom Hearts 3, because like I said, time travel is a very, very sticky pudding. It's really going to be interesting to see how these roles play out, especially with having multiple different villain groups that don't necessarily agree with the other groups as well, and seeing the conflicts that come between them. Another thing we should also keep our eye out for is the Union Cross story updates, especially any that actually contain some information and more lore towards Loarium. As we know, that's the somebody version of Marluxia, and as it stands as of right now, the Union Cross story has sort of been on the down low, and not really much progression has been made in terms of the new Dandelion leaders, in which we know, of course, Loarium is one of them. So maybe now that we know that Marluxia is going to be returning in Kingdom Hearts 3, maybe his goals and ambitions will become a little bit clearer with the story progression that eventually gets added to Union Cross. He is in Union Cross for a particular reason, and he's for sure within Kingdom Hearts 3 for a particular reason, and I'm sure eventually these dots are going to connect. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Thought we'd just sit down and talk a little bit about Marluxia, seeing as I am extremely excited to see him returning as a character. I cannot wait to learn more about him. I'm very excited to know exactly how his role in Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be getting played out, and from the seams, it looks like he's going to be doing things on his own terms. In the comment section down below, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions towards all of this good stuff, and until next time, guys, I'll catch you later. Peace.
Hit them on the page, you'll be coming through stunning. Gold in my mouth when you suckers be bluffing. Milk crate, gaming up your bitch though. Catch me in the back playing Super Nintendo.